What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? This is Chief Kalanago Flying Eagle with another video. All right, we're about to get into this. First off, I want to acknowledge the great spirit, universal intelligence. All right. The great I am, what some may call God. Definitely want to honor and appreciate my ancestors, thanking them for guidance and protection every time, knowing that any weapons formed against me shall not prosper. Okay, we are going to get into a few things today. Okay, so this one may or may not be a little bit lengthy. Now, let me just make sure I have audio on YouTube and Facebook. All right. YouTube hit me up. I think yesterday they told me I got another strike, so to speak, but another violation. It's not a strike against the channel, but it's another violation, you know what I mean? And some video they took down, you know. So like I said, man, I ain't even got time for all that. You know what I mean? We just live in a world where, you know, these people want to control everything you do and say. That's all it is. So they sent me a link. You know, they sent me a link saying, well, do you want to appeal? What is the point of appealing? So I respond, like, what's the point of appealing? I mean, you know, colonizers came into my land and been, you know, violating my ancestors through genocide. And every time I talk about it, you say it's a community strike. So it's your platform. Do what you want. I really don't care. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to let you know I had that experience last night. But anyway, what we are going to talk about with on right now, we're going to go into a few things to open up your mind as to what's going on, because you have to be ahead of the game. When I say ahead of the game, meaning that be ahead of the average individual. You feel me? When it comes to what's happening in the world, because a lot of people are going to get stuck. I'm telling you. All right. A lot of people. So, but it is what it is, right? Everything that has to happen, it will happen anyway. But still, it doesn't mean that we cannot be prepared or prepare ourselves. All right. So I got a recording. You know, remember I told y'all I have this this Telegram group, okay, for us, just in case, you know, YouTube take away my channel, whatever the case may be. We have a Telegram group where it's a few of us. I wish more of you would have been, you know, in the Telegram group, but it is what it is, right? And there was a recording in there. So first things first, I'm going to share the recording and we're going to break down a few things, okay? Now, once again, this is for educational purposes. Please do me a favor. Make sure you do your due diligence. Make sure you do your research, okay? I'm just giving you the information, all right? So let me go ahead and get that in and share my screen. Hold on for 1 second. And then share the recording. Where it's at, let me see. All right. Screen is being shared. It's populating right now. Give it 1 second. Here we go. And this is the recording.
Good afternoon, Barbados. I want to address a very serious development that has just taken place here in Barbados. The government has just proposed a bill to Parliament for a National Credit Bureau. The report in Starcom Network says that the bill will be allowing people to get loans more easily and so on and so forth. Nothing could be further from the truth. This National Credit Bureau will be signed into law in order to be able to create a social credit system, which means that you will not be able to pay your water bill unless you have either a vaccinated status or you have complied with some other government requirement. You won't be able to have electricity unless you are a QR code holder, such as a QR code from your vaccination status, or you have complied with some other government requirement. You will not be able to own car insurance unless you have a QR code for either of the above, because you have to produce a bill of residence, a light bill or a water bill, in order to be able to get car insurance. You will not be able to drive because a driver's license will not be issued, because the social credit system will not allow you to give you a driver's license, because you will not be able to pay for it until you can prove that you are part of the system. This is the introduction of the totalitarian control that has been part of this global fiasco, and that our Prime Minister has signed on to when she went to Glasgow. The UN issuing an award for climate environment change or whatever it is nothing more than absolute rubbish, because the entire COP26 Glasgow conference was nothing to do with climate change. It was Barbados signing on to a global conglomerate of banking institutions in order to be able to align themselves with a new totalitarian global finance initiative. And those of you who do not believe what I'm saying, please do your research, okay? The Prime Minister has sold Barbados to the highest bidder. That is the reason why we have an embassy in the Metaverse. A digital embassy in the Metaverse allows for the global totalitarian public-private partnership to own Barbados lock, stock, and barrel. And the National Credit Bureau will introduce a national credit system or social credit system which will control everything about your life. And I mean everything about your life. You will not be able to buy food unless you have complied with certain government requirements. You will not be able to pay for any commodity, fuel for your car, gas for your stove, unless you have complied with government authority. This is what's happening in Australia. The National Credit Bureau will become the social credit system of Barbados, and then they will issue an app that you will have on your phone, which you will have to sign into your app to show where you are. This is nothing more than totalitarian control of the Barbados population. And we, the people of Barbados, have to end it.
Okay. So for those of you who don't know or not aware of what you just heard, or you don't know, the island of Barbados. Okay. Barbados is an island in the Caribbean. And I will go into this lesson this evening and break down the significance of what all that means, and why Barbados is such a critical country. Okay, so I do have that bill. I have the full extent of the bill that was proposed, to the Barbados Parliament. Okay, in regards to the World Bank's, taking this credit system into the Caribbean. Now, this is nothing new for us in the United States, because we already have, of course, the central bank system running things. Plus, we already have a credit bureau system. All right. So with that being said, Barbados, again, supposedly got rid of the Queen, but turned right back around, okay, and went under another power. So, and guess who runs that power? Guess who runs the central banking? So it's just running from one jurisdiction to the next. So it's all trickery. You feel me? So I have the bill in its entirety, and we're going to go through some of the bill, but I also put everything in the description so that you're able to go through all that yourself. So you know exactly where we are going. Okay. And what's going to happen is, with the system they're going to create in Barbados, is they're going to create, supposedly, once again, allegedly, they're going to create an app, okay, where you're able to show that you have either taken, the JAB, all right, you have either taken that. If not, you cannot participate. You see what I'm saying? So let us go through the bill and see exactly what it's saying. All right. So give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and share that with y'all. Okay. Give me 1 second, please. That is not the bill. Where's the bill at? I have it somewhere. I have the bill somewhere. Okay, here we go. Let me share my screen. And that is in the description below. Okay. And Barbados, once again, all right, they have to, for them to literally be taken underneath the crown, or taken, to be fully a sovereign nation, okay, they have to stop using the money of the crown. Okay, so they're not fully, okay, independent, so to speak, because anytime you're using a country's money, that means the country still owns the country. So even if they're saying they just came from underneath the queen, that is not fully the truth, because they're still using their currency. That's why I believe they're going to step into a world of cryptocurrency, and now that will take them directly underneath the crown. But now it will take them under the jurisdiction of the central bank with what they are proposing to Barbados. Now, remember what I've shared with you, right? Everything that I share with you, there's always a madness to everything that I speak, because I get it for some reason. I get it before I even know anything. I've been talking about Metaverse. I didn't even know anything about Barbados and Metaverse. And here we go. We will get also into Barbados being the first supposed sovereign country to have a Metaverse embassy. So family, this is huge. And just to let y'all know, I'm literally on point with this. Okay. And why it's so critical. Barbados is a country to look out for. We are going to get into all of this. Let me write something down real quick. Okay. Give me 1 second. All right. So let me share this and let's go over this this bill. Okay. Here we go. So this was 2021 11/24. So literally that was proposed on November 11th 2024. So I'm not just speculating, I'm actually giving you the actual bill. It's 57 pages long. We're not going to read the entire thing. We're just going to read a few excerpts, okay, from the bill, and it's there in its entirety. So you'll see, but most of it that's there, we're already used to that in the United States anyway, because it's a credit system that they're introducing to Barbados. All right. And you know, once Barbados get it, now it's going to be all over the Caribbean. Okay. But a few more interesting things is being added to that bill. Okay. Literally, it's a contract, and people have to realize this is all about commerce. Okay. It's all about commerce. And for those of you who cannot understand what commerce is and how to navigate in the commercial world, you will not make it. You will not make it. I promise you that. Okay. There's nothing wrong with the commercial world, but you have to know how to navigate in the commercial world and identify the real from the fake. Okay. And that's key. So let's read a little bit of that bill. Objects and reasons. This bill would provide for a creation of a regulatory environment to promote the development of a fair credit reporting system in Barbados. Like I said, we already have that in the United States, so this is not new to us, okay? The regulation of the use of such data. C, secure keeping of the private data of persons collected by the Credit Bureau. And D, related matters. Arrangement of sections, part 1, preliminary. 1, short title. 2, interpretation. Part 2, administration, because everything is administrative. Like I told you before, all crimes are commercial. Everything is about commerce. 3, powers, duties, and functions of the central bank. Part 3, licensing. Number 4, Credit Bureau to be licensed. Application for license. Number 5. Number 6, grant of license. Number 7, refusal to grant license. Number 8, terms and conditions of license. Number 9, variation of license terms and conditions. Number 10, restrictions on the transfer of license. Number 11, duration of the license. Number 12, revocation. Number 3, material change in circumstances affecting the Credit Bureau. Number 14, publication by the central bank. Part 4, credit reporting activity. 15, permissible credit reporting activities. 16, like I said, we used to all that, those terminologies, I'm assuming, in the United States, if you know about the Credit Bureau. Okay, so I don't have to go into all the subtitles on that. Okay, the securities, etc., 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 etc. Okay, part 6. Let's just scroll down and see if we could just get to the immunities, all that, commencement, all that stuff. All right. I mean, I read the entire thing, So I'm just going to read a little bit of it for y'all real quick. Okay, now here we go. Barbados, a bill entitled An Act to Provide for a Credit Reporting System in Barbados that is Fair for the Regulation of the Use of Data Collected and for Related Purposes, enacted by Parliament of Barbados as follows. And I'll tell you exactly why all this is dangerous when I'm done reading some of this, okay? Part 1, preliminary. Short title 1. This act may be cited as the Fair Credit Reporting Act of 2021 in Barbados, right? Interpretation. Number 2, in this act, adverse action means decision taken by a credit information provider based on the data subject's information from the credit bureau that adversely affects a data subject, including a refusal of an application for credit, B, an increase in the interest rate on a loan or other credit facility. So once again, like I said, those are terms that we're familiar with in the United States. So they're just bringing that. It's a new system into Barbados. And of course, with Barbados taking the lead on that, then other Caribbean countries under what's called CARICOM, okay, will follow. And CARICOM is just a group of Caribbean islands coming together, you know, to do commercial things amongst themselves, okay, where they have, like you see, you have the United States codes, then, you know, CARICOM together, those countries, they come together and they have codes as well when it comes to dealing in commerce, okay? So I'm certainly sure if Barbados does it, then other countries will follow as well. And why is that a detriment to the people that's in the islands, all right? Because we see what the credit system did in the United States, right? It took the people from being organic, meaning that growing their own food, you know, doing things on the farm, to now living a life of a credit system, okay, where they are moving away from a cash system where you're able to get everything on credit, and we know what that does. So they're implementing that in Barbados. Is the same thing, all right? Just so y'all know. Now, some people may look at it as something good, but trust me, it's not, because credit creates inflation, because you get everything for free and now you have to go slave to pay it back. If you don't pay it, then they could come take your house, they could come take your land. So that's very dangerous for the people in the islands, okay? Now, administration, part 2, powers, duties, and functions of the central bank. 3.1, central bank shall be responsible for A, the overall management of this act. So pretty much the central bank is now going to be controlling Barbados through this central system. So in other words, Barbados went from under, okay, the Crown of England, which they're making the transition, all right, supposedly they got their freedom, which no, because you're still using the currency of the crown. But once they change their currency, you would think that the people now are in control. No, Barbados is already putting another system in place so that they are controlled by the central banks. All right, so it's literally you're going from one system of families to the next. That's all they are doing, a transfer of power. Okay. Number 3, the licensing. Okay, credit bureau to be licensed. 4, no person shall A, operate as or carry on the business of a credit bureau, or B, use or continue to use words implying that the person is a credit bureau in the description or title pursuant to which such person is carrying on business, unless such person is licensed under this act. Okay, so they're just giving the terms and conditions, and for people who violate that, they have some jail time and or penalties, or both. Okay, so we're just going to scroll through this. Like I said, I have the link in the description, so you could take your time and read that, you know, in your own time. Okay, I just don't want to get too long-winded reading this, all of this, when we have a few more things to cover. All right, so by all means, please go do your own reading. All right. And they have restrictions of the license, duration of the license, revocation of the license. All right. Material, what is that? Give me a second. Material change in circumstances affecting the credit bureau. All right. Credit reporting activity. All right. Permissible credit reporting activities. 15.1. A credit bureau shall not engage in any activity other than A, an activity specified in subsection 2, or B, an activity approved by the central bank by notice published in the official gazette. Number 2, a credit bureau may, for its own account or on behalf of an individual or a data subject, engage in the following activities. All right. A, ascertain whether a credit information provider holds information relevant to the financial standing of an individual or data subject. B, develop and make credit reports, credit scores, and value-added products available to subscribers or others. So once again, this system, in my opinion, again, I'm giving my opinion, is literally going to be a class system, okay, where the have and the have-nots, that's all it's going to be about. Same thing in the United States. The have, okay, the most fortunate people that's in better areas, they get to have the best credit. A1 class citizens, right? First class citizens, while the people at the bottom will always be struggling. Okay. So it's no, in my opinion, it is no even playing field. So they're literally taking Barbados from one system, okay, to another under another foreign authority. Okay. So again, that's all that's being done. And like I said, I'm going to show you why it's critical, you know, and why Barbados is so important. All right. Because there's nothing new under the sun. People have to realize that history always repeats itself. Okay, I promise you that history always repeats itself. Okay, and it all happens because a lot of times people just sit back and allow these people to do what they want with them. All right, it is really that simple, because everybody got free will, but we like to chase the glittering things. That's the problem. They give you an illusion. It sounds good, it seems good, and then you fall into the trap. Okay, that's Charlotte's Web. All right. Let me scroll down some more, scroll down some more. Like I said, we're just going to browse through that. The link is in the description, so please read it in your own time. Take your time and read it. Okay, let us go to the next part. See what the next part is. And they have all the fines if you violate this and imprisonment and all that. Like take, for instance, number 7. Any person who obtains information relating to a data subject from a credit bureau by deception is guilty of the offense and liable on summary conviction of up to 50,000 or imprisonment for up to 3 years. Prison is another business. So no matter how you look at it, it is all commercial. Okay, it is all commercial. I'm still trying to scroll down to the next part, and then I'll probably just read one more part and move on. All right. But like I said, that link is there, so go ahead and read it for yourself. All right. Okay. All right. Part 5, supervision by the central bank. Information gathering powers of the central bank. 31. For the purpose of carrying out its functions under this act and the regulations with respect to a license, the central bank A may request from the credit bureau any information that the central bank requires in order to determine any matter arising under this act or the regulations or from the operations of the credit bureau. B, may issue such guidelines, rules, or directives as the central bank considers appropriate. C, may require access to the books, records, accounts, vouchers, minutes of meetings, and any other document of the license. D, may demand the production of and inspect any record of the license or a person with respect to whom an inspection or inquiry is being made or conducted under this part. And E, shall exercise such other information, gathering and enforcement powers set out in this part or the regulations as are necessary to fulfill its functions under this part. 2, where the central bank demands the production of any record under paragraph D of subsection 1. Any person who has the custody, possession, or control of the record shall produce such record to the central bank. 3, every credit bureau shall comply with any guidelines, rules, or directives issued by the central bank under paragraph B of section 1. So once again, basically, we are just reiterating that the central bank is now going to literally own Barbados through this credit system. So there's no sense for me to read the rest. Okay, that's just pretty much what we are saying. Okay, so let me stop sharing the screen, but this link is in the chat below, so please go ahead and take care of that. Now you may ask, why is Barbados so important? Well, let me explain something to you about Barbados. Okay, let me explain something to you. Let me just pull that. Okay, let me see. All right, so I'm gonna do that next, do that, and then I'm gonna do that first. Okay. Because a lot of us indigenous people, we refuse to see the connection and how we connected throughout all the Americas. We refuse to see that. All right. So we think we think we're enemies. We think we're different, when the truth of the matter is we are the only race of people, okay, that kind of like similarly look alike in physical appearance all over the Americas, whether we are coming from a light-skinned, so-called red bone perspective to a dark brown indigenous beings. Okay, we are the only race of people that have, in every prehistoric book that I've read, they talk about the resemblance in terms of physique of the American Aborigines. Okay. Now, this is why Barbados is crucial. Okay. Barbados is key. So let this populate real quick. Barbados was the birthplace of British slave society and the most ruthless colonized by the Britons ruling elites. They made their fortunes from sugar produced by an enslaved disposable workforce, and this great wealth secured Britain's place as an imperial superpower and caused untold suffering. Now, the first part is the most significant part. Barbados was the first birthplace of the British slave society. Okay, what am I saying? What does that mean? Okay, Barbados is literally key in terms of, the Britain elites at that time. They were the Black Kings. Once again, they were not pale people. They were people who looked just like us. That was their door, okay, to come into the West Indies. Because remember, when they spoke about the West Indies, before the full-blown colonization, these people had no idea of the extent of the Americas. So they just thought the West Indies was just the islands. So everything was called the West Indies, even the United States. The entire North, South America was considered the West Indies. You know what I'm saying? So basically Indians from the West, but they didn't know how vast the continent was. So, and I'm talking about before the whole sugar cane plantation, all that. I'm talking about first contact. Okay, first contact. So it was the people in the islands that were first called Americans. You feel me? Until it was extended to the entire landmass. Now, that's neither here or there. The point I'm making is you have to see the significance of Barbados and what's happening. You feel me? So literally, it's history repeating itself again, because sometimes you have to go back where it first started. You feel me? Where it first started to do over certain things. And that's what they're doing. Because you're going to ask yourself, well, yes, I get the credit system, but why is Barbados having the first Metaverse embassy in the world? Why is that? You see what I'm saying? Because that's where it all started. One of the main places it all started. And we are going to get into that right now. So I just want to show you the significance and how important Barbados is. All right. Now, for those of you who don't know and still think, okay, for those of you who don't know and still think that we are so different and these islands, they are not part of America and all that, let me just reiterate to y'all once more that America is a continent, okay? The United States is not America. So let us go into what's called OAS. And for all you Caribbean people who don't think that you're already Americans and think you're from Africa, let me ask you a question. Why is your country part of OAS, Organization of American States? You see me, when I'm talking, I don't just like to talk. I like to bring facts and information because documentation beats conversation. You feel me? So let's check this out. For all of you in the Caribbean islands, why is that your country is part of OAS, Organization of American States? And I'm gonna call out the list of countries. 35 independent states of America have ratified the OAS and are members of what the organization. Now I'm going to repeat that again. All 35 independent states of America. So therefore, all these countries are part of the United States of America. There's a difference between the United States, which is the corporation set up, okay, on the Title 28, subsection 15A, and the States of America. All the islands are still parts of the States of America. Well, Chief, what are you talking about? You have no idea what you're talking about. Well, let us look at OAS, Organizations of the American States. And just so you know, Barbados is not independent, Richard. Okay, Barbados is not independent. Okay, all that's an illusion. It's an illusion. Okay, so you have Antigua and Bermuda. Why is Antigua and Bermuda part of OAS, Organization of American States? Why? Because it is in America. Argentina, Barbados, Belize, Bolivia, Brazil, Canada, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Cuba, okay, Dominican Republic, the Commonwealth of Dominica, Ecuador, El Salvador, Grenada, Guatemala, Guyana, Haiti, Honduras, Jamaica, Mexico, Nicaragua, Panama, Paraguay, Peru, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Suriname, the Bahamas, Commonwealth of, Trinidad and Tobago, the United States, which is the U.S., okay, Uruguay, Venezuela, Bolivian Republic of. All these are countries in America, and they are all part of OAS, Organizations of America. Okay? Organizations of American States, OAS. Okay? Just so y'all know. Which brings me to my next slide. Barbados to become the first sovereign nation with an embassy in the Metaverse. Okay? Now, for Barbados to be considered sovereign, it had to come from under the Queen. You see, all this is a succession. All this is all well planned out. You feel me? Because they're taking Barbados into a whole different world under a new jurisdiction to sell the organic Barbados once more, okay, to a fictitious world. Okay, man, I'm just telling y'all, man, this is playing out. It's like a movie playing out right in front of people's faces, and most people are just too blind to see it. And you know what? And even if they see it, they're not going to do anything about it. And that's facts. Let's read this again. Let us go to the next slide or the next article. And all that stuff is in the description, in the links. Okay? Business, CoinDesk, right? Barbados to become the first sovereign nation with an embassy in the Metaverse. Now, Barbados is one of the only islands in the Caribbean where you could get a visa. They have an embassy to get a visa to come into the United States. So once again, like I said, let us go back to the beginning. Let us go back to where it all started. This is why Barbados is so significant. Once more, Barbados is setting up the world, okay, for what happened in the slavery days. You feel me? It's a whole nother transition in a whole digital world. You dig? All right? So they may think they live in the Queen. No, they're still going underneath the family. You dig? So let's read some more. In what could be seen as a historic step towards the legitimization of the metaverse, the island nation of Barbados is preparing to legally declare digital real estate sovereign land with the establishment of a metaverse embassy. The Barbadian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade signed an agreement on Sunday with Decentraland, among the largest and most popular crypto-powered digital worlds, for the establishment of a digital embassy, per press released upon to CoinDesk. The government is also finalizing agreement with Somnium Space, the Superworld, and other metaverse platforms. The various projects will be assisting with the identifying and purchasing land, okay, architecting the virtual embassies and consulates, developing facilities to provide services such as e-visas, and constructing a teleporter that allow users to transport their avatars between the various worlds. What does all that means? It means that Barbados is giving up, okay, its organic land to these companies to create a fictitious world. And so now people will not have to leave their homes or do anything. They will get a visa. They have to pay for a visa to now teleport, okay, into an as an avatar. So you'll be sitting in your living room, okay? You will have your glasses on. Or everything will be paid for. You'll have your visa, you will have your visa number and everything. And you're able, all those countries that's part of the metaverse, you'll be able to go take a virtual tour. But first, they have to sell the organic land. They have to license it to those countries, or those countries, aka corporations, or countries being called, corporations being called countries. Okay? And you're able to go. So let's just say the United States is part of the metaverse, right? And let's say Dubai is part of the metaverse. Instead of actually going to the airport physically and buying a ticket and going to Dubai, you could just sit in your living room, go online, do everything, plug in, pay for whatever you got to pay for, sit in your house, and then end up in Dubai with a fake body, a virtual body. That is the world that they are creating. And people think this is good. People think this is real. Okay? I'm telling you, it's going to come to a point where people who don't subscribe to this craziness, okay, it's all good for fun. But just wait when they tell you that's the only way you could do things. Like you need a license to come out of your house. Okay, you have a penalty to come out of your house. You'll get a penalty, or there's a curfew. You cannot be outside after a certain time. You're only allowed in the metaverse. You see, people don't understand what's coming. But once again, maybe I'm a little bit too ahead of my time. All right, let's read some more. An interview with CoinDesk, Barbados ambassador to the United Arab Emirates, H.E. Gabriel Abed, said the country intends to expand aggressively, hear that, aggressively, beyond this initial effort to build structures and purchase digital land in a variety of virtual worlds. So you own the land virtually, but there have to be a contract where you still own the organic land. This idea is not to pick a winner. The metaverse is still very young and new, and we want to make sure that what we build is transferable across the meta worlds, he said. Digital connections. In addition to spearheading the country's metaverse diplomatic efforts, Abed is also currently working to establish Barbados' first physical embassy in the Middle East. Man, y'all better wake up. He said that the Barbadian government, whose cabinet approved the Metaverse embassy in August, views the move as a unique diplomatic opportunity. This is a way for Barbados to expand its diplomatic mission beyond the 18 it currently has with 190 countries around the world. This allows us to open the door using technology diplomacy, which then extends the cultural diplomacy, the trade, art, music, and culture. With the release of the embassy tentatively scheduled for January, Barbados will become the first country in the world to recognize digital sovereign land. Okay, so they will not allow you to be sovereign in your organic self, but in a fake world, they're going to give you sovereignty. You feel me? And people think that's okay. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Science and Technology, and many other governmental bodies reviewed the plans over several months, said Abed. The country has also retained legal counsel, as the ambassador will set a number of unique precedents. So far, experts have said that the embassy will be compliant with international law as well as the Vienna Convention. Barbados is among the friendliest countries in the world for the cryptocurrencies and has been among those leading the charge on the development of a central bank digital currency. Okay, if you want to read more, all that link is there. Okay, Abed also hinted that the embassies will be a launch pad for what could be more ambitious economic plans in the virtual world. Open quote, embassies are the starting point to getting a visa to enter a country or a visa-free travel. Can you imagine what that would look like virtually and where that e-visa could lead you, he asked, close quote. So my question again, you make it difficult for people to have visas in person, but you know what? We'll let you take a visual trip. We'll give you a visa so you could do it through a virtual platform. Okay? Once again, it's about control. Okay? And that link is in the description below. All right. Now, for a lot of you that think that these countries are countries, they are not countries. All these countries, okay, with these incorporated names, they are all corporations. Jamaica, Dominica, the United States, Canada, all of them, okay, they are all incorporated corporations. Okay, now let me go through a list of indigenous names of Eastern Caribbean islands. That is actually a country, an island, but the name that it has right now makes it a corporation. All right, so let us go on, read a little bit on that. And I put all that stuff in the description so that you could do your own research. Okay, so unless people wake up and realize that we have to come together and say, no, enough is enough, and revert to the original names, the indigenous names, then no matter what you do, you are obligated, okay, to the corporation and the corporation name, which is a business. All right. Now, list of indigenous names of Eastern Caribbean islands. All right. The list of indigenous names of Eastern Caribbean islands is a compilation of the indigenous names that were given by Amerindian people to those islands before the Europeans started naming them. Now, let's make one thing clear, okay? A lot of people don't realize that throughout the entire Caribbean, it was Arawaks, okay? And you had, then they broke down the Arawaks in two groups, or pretty much three groups. Arawak, Taino, and Carib or Kalinago. You feel me? But people don't realize that the Arawaks, the Taino, and the Caribs are the same people. They just broke them up into factions. Okay, that's what they did. You feel what I'm saying? That's what they did. But it was just all Arawaks. And they say, oh, well, the Arawaks died off, and the Caribs and the Tainos were the ones who survived. No, they're the same people. They just spoke a different dialect. But they all spoke an Arawakan language. So they were all Arawaks. Okay? So let us go to the list. And all these people came pretty much from the Orinoco River. Okay? And then they traveled into different parts of the Caribbean. All right? So let's go through a list of those countries. I'm not going to name all, and pardon me if I butcher some of the words, okay? But I'm just going to give you a list of countries and give you the original names or what was similar to the original names, okay? So you have the Leeward Islands, you have Anguilla. The Arawak name was Malionohana. Maliohana. That was the Arawak name, okay, which means arrow-shaped sea serpent. You have St. Martin, okay, Soaliga Olichi. That is Arawak, land of salt, land of beautiful. So once it went from the indigenous name to that new name, then that's when it became a corporation. So it is all incorporated. So once you have a passport with that incorporated name, it makes you subject to that corporation, and your sovereignty, so to speak, was taken away because now you are a subject of that corporation. The same thing with the United States. So it's nothing new. Okay, we have some baths. Koana Loa. Okay, that means toad on top. Arawak. Saba, Siba, Amunhana, Arawak. Okay, that means the rock. You have Saint Estatius, Aloe, Arawak, cashew tree. Saint Croix, AA, Taino, the river, and they're all Arawakan language. Even the Taino language is an Arawakan language. Okay, Saint Kitts, Leamuga, which is Kalinago, fertile land. Nevis, Uli, Kalinago, land of beautiful water. Montserrat, Alioa, Ghana, Kalinago, land of prickly bush. Bermuda, Wamoni, Kalinago, land of herons, broader interpretation, land of large birds. Antigua, Waladli, land of fish oil. Rudanda, Okonanmanru, unknown. Okay. Guadeloupe, Karakura, land of gum trees. Okay. Mari Galante or Galant. Tulukira Alunagan, land of chili peppers, land of tutulu crabs, land of cotton. Okay. Windward Islands, the present name. Dominica, which is the country that I was born. All right. Wetsikubuli, Kari, Kalinago, and Arawak. All right. And the meaning is tall is her beauty, the island. Okay. Martinique, Joanna Kiara, Kalinago, land of iguana. St. Lucia, Hewa Nora, Kalinago, land of iguana. St. Vincent, Hairuna or Hairun. Remember I told you guys about the Hairun? Okay, the people that used to play the lacrosse. Okay, Kalinago, land of blessed. Bekuya or Bekuya, Kalinago, island of clouds. Canoon, Kanuna, Kanuan, Kalinago, island of turtles. Karaku, Karaku, pretty much almost the same. Kalinago, island of reefs. Grenada, Cameroon, Kalinago, Calabi, Conception Island. Continental, Barbados. That's a very, let me see, Aichiro Nagniam. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation, but it means red land, island with white teeth. Tobago or Tobago, pardon me, Tobago is the same thing. Tobago, that's the indigenous name. Kalinago, Calabi, tobacco pipe. Trinidad, Cari, Lear, Kalinago, land of the hummingbird. Hispaniola, okay, which is Haiti. All right, that consisted of Haiti and Dominican Republic. Rough earth, mother of all lands. That's why Haiti was so important. That whole of Hispaniola, that's what's happening to Haiti right now. Okay, because even Queen Akinoa from Haiti was literally almost the entire queen of the Americas. All right, just giving y'all some history. Cuba, Cubua, Taino, large island or place. Puerto Rico, Boriquen, Taino, land of valiant and noble lord. Jamaica, Yamea, or it used to be Zamaka. It's two different spellings, all right? Land of wood and water or land of springs. Okay, so that's in the link below, and you could go ahead and do your own research. But I just wanted to kind of give you guys an overview as to what's happening. You feel what I'm saying? What's happening? Okay, and the only time any country could go back into its true sovereignty, the people have to stand up and give up those incorporated name. Okay, so until people really want to make a change, then that's what you have to do. Until then, you just have to play the game. It is really that simple. It's either you're going to play the game or we're going to stand up. It is really that simple. And that's why I tell people, being autonomous is key, because when you are dependent on these corporations, you feel me? Then it becomes a problem, because now you are subservient to what they impose upon you. All right. And that's why I am literally, pushing, these great opportunities so we could start making some moves. But once again, I cannot force anybody to do anything. You feel me? I'm just here to bring the information and you do what you want with it. But I'm going to continue to stay ahead and look forward and position myself. Okay. So I could protect me, my family, and those that are rocking with me, because I cannot save anybody. That's why I'm bringing you the information. If you want to be a part of what we are doing, great. If you don't, then it's all good. You could never say, well, you know what? I didn't know, because Chief Kalanago told y'all what's happening and what's going on. And this is just the beginning. You haven't seen anything yet. You feel me? You haven't seen anything yet. All right. So I think we covered everything in good time. We're still under an hour. So definitely we will be talking to each other soon on another build. I'm not doing any other builds for the evening. I'm going to relax myself and chill, do some meditation, and just like I said, just prepare myself mentally. You feel me? For what's coming. So at least I know that I will be living my best life. You feel me? And that's my goal personally, is to put myself in a financial position where I'm not subjected to the people who the so-called haves. You feel me? I want to get some land, whether it's me and a group of people or just me and my family, whatever the case may be. That's what I'm going to do, so I could just chill and relax and enjoy the rest of my life in this physical body. But I am not going to subject myself to these games that these people are playing. Nah. So what does that mean? It means that I have to be wealthy so I could play the commercial game, because it's all a commercial game. When it's all said and done, guess what? It's the haves that's going to live the best life, not the have-nots. You feel me? It is really that simple. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. You did. So it's up to you. It's either you want to step into the arena that have, so we could make some power moves, or you could continue to beg the haves for your rights. Okay, and to beg them for food, and to beg them for water, and to beg them to step out of your house, and to beg them for a license, and to beg them to travel. It is up to you if that's the type of life that you want to live. I'm not nobody's slave. You feel me? So I'm going to stand for my right. So I'm going to build my wealth and do what I got to do. So with that being said, y'all have a great duration. You know what? I was looking for a word to replace continuation. So I look for synonyms, okay, of the word continuation, and duration was the best one I came up with, because for a very long time, even if I was using it, my spirit, it never gravitated with the word continue. I mean, I spelt it differently, but it's not even about the spelling, it's the pronunciation. You see what I'm saying? So I wanted to look for something different instead of saying continuation or continuation, because of the word con. Give me 1 second here. And every time I say I'm done, I really don't want to pass an hour, because I want to keep it on point. You know what I mean? So let me see something. Okay. Let me just give y'all something real quick. And that was just my higher self, rebelling against that word. Even if I try my best to change the spelling, and instead of C, I use a K. But it's not about the spelling. it's about the pronunciation, right? Because remember, the power of life and death is in the tongue, right? So I give voters again that the proposal they con that swell in American English, man, con many scams. All right, so let me just show you real quick. All right, I got literally another 4.5 minutes, and then I'm gonna shut this down. So let me show you real quick. So let us look at the etymology of the word con, right? C-O-N, okay? So we have the etymology of the word con, right? We have adjective, right? Well, the adverb, okay? Negation in the negative. The arguments, argues, or voters against a proposal, right? So con means to be against, right? That's basically what it means as an adverb, okay? As an adjective, swindling, right? Swindling from many scams in which the victim is induced to have over money or have taken. So basically, in essence, to be a con, okay, is to be against or to swindle. You feel me? So that's why you have con artist, convict, congress. Okay. Why didn't they call themselves progress? Why do they call themselves congress? So when these people tell you who they are, okay, and you refuse to pay attention and just think it's just a word, then that's on you. You see, ignorance of the law or ignorance of understanding is nobody's fault. Just like a judge will tell you, ignorance of the law is no excuse. So your ignorance of not knowing words is your fault. Even if you were not taught, it's your fault. Because you have to open up your mind and start thinking for yourself. So I'm going to ask you again, why didn't they call themselves progress opposed to congress? Do you think it was coincidental that they used the word con, the prefix con instead of the prefix pro? Because if they said progress, it means they would have been for the people. But congress means to be against. But people are so blind, man. It's not even funny. It's not even funny. And it's just crazy. And some people may say, well, Chief, you're overthinking. Well, you know what? If that's what you think, that's fine. But I know better. I know better. And they tell you exactly what it is in the words. That's why they told you in the beginning was the word. You got to pay attention to the words. So that's why, I was like, you know what? I'm always saying, have a blissful continuation. I say, you know what? I got to find another word. Okay. So I came up with duration, meaning that the duration of the day or duration of the, so-called week, whatever the case may be. All right. So that's why I kind of like revisited that word, continue, because of the prefix con. Okay. The energy is putting out there is not a good energy. So I don't say continuation anymore. I say duration. So just want to kind of like, that may seem insignificant to you, but it's not to me. So with that being said, have yourself a blissful duration. Okay. And it's time for us to create a progress. Okay. That's going to look out for the people opposed to a congress that's against the people. All right. We'll talk soon. Take care.